Right guys, I'm going to do periodically now some videos where I read some of the comments that are said, some of the funny ones hopefully and some of the serious ones, and we can ask, how can I answer those questions. So I've just gone back through my thing, so I've not got great ones, but from now on I'm going to start collecting them. If you want to help me get a copy of Tolkien's World, the ultimate unofficial guide to Tolkien's World, or if you're really into samurai, the Book of Bushido, that'll do. But let's have a look at some comments.
Here we have user whatever. You have to remember something. Everything can and has been disputed, but doesn't mean anything fake or not real. It just means that people aren't sure or that proof has been lost.
This is a common comment. This is basically, there isn't proof, you might not have found it, so it's just not there. It's about pictures, guys. History is always about pictures. It's about the big picture. I've said this before. Imagine you get a picture, paint over it black, yeah? So, and then you scrape off little by little and you find the big picture. If something doesn't fit, then it doesn't fit. It's not there. Or there's a reason why it crazily doesn't fit in, and then there's something that comes out of the thingy. When we're talking about ninja martial arts from the past, it just doesn't fit. There's ninja versus samurai. Ninja had a specific martial arts now. Doesn't fit into the fabric of Japanese people of, here's your samurai army. Ninjas are inside it, and they hire samurai, and samurai are there using normal samurai martial arts. It just doesn't fit in. Remember, whenever people say, oh, there might be more proof in the future, there might be. But at the moment, it is literally, historians, what they have to do is look at the overall picture and say, if some new information pops up, which we've had new information about samurai ninja martial arts, that it doesn't fit. The scroll was incorrect, the paper was wrong, it was a fake 1950s fake, roughly. So it just doesn't fit, so it comes out. So anything that comes in that vastly changes it, there has to be a reason why it's not fake, and you test all these things. But basically, guys, this idea that the proof for ninja something is somewhere else, that's only true if it will fit into the picture. If it was a case of, we don't know what martial arts ninja uses, are really, confusing, what it doesn't fit, we have no idea. We do have an idea, it's obvious what they used. But if it wasn't and it didn't fit and something new come in, it'd slot in okay and everything would be fine. But that's not how it is.
Might is not a good term when you claim to be a soke, I don't, of a Shitsuden. To have an actual teacher to teach you these things is very apparent.
Basically, this is one of the things that people say, you can't learn from scrolls. Now, people say you can't learn from books. You can actually learn from books. You really can. That's what books are intended to do. They literally, somebody had a great comment on this. It was like, if you can't learn from books, why did they write scrolls on martial arts and gungaku and things like that? And from Europe to Japan, from across the world, they wrote down the histories, entire histories of people about learning are from books. And some people come along and go, you can't learn from a book. What's the point of a book? But I get what they're saying. You can't learn martial arts from a book. And it would be amazing if we had somebody who'd had a tradition passed down that was nothing changed, nothing altered, and or we could go back in time, or there was proof that was unaltered. But the problem is every time we check scrolls versus the passed down tradition of martial arts, it's altered. So actually, this guy is totally wrong. We want to learn a martial art from ancient Japan. We don't go to the people alive today, because most of what they do is clearly changed from the original scrolls. I mean, vastly changed. So the only place we're going to really learn traditional Japanese martial arts is from the scrolls, unfortunately. So, it is so obvious that things have changed so much. We're hoping that there is a style out there that didn't change so much, but it is. I've checked, multiple styles. There are hundreds to check, but that would take teams and teams of people. And the simple fact is the ones I've checked don't match. None of them match the original stuff. So it's fair to say, from a small sample, a small sample that is across a broad spectrum, I've not just gone to one area, you'd find that everything's changed, that probably across Japan the whole of it changed, especially throughout the 400 years. So actually, this person is wrong. You have to learn from scrolls to get ancient martial arts. There are no teachers that teach you today exactly what they did in the old days. We are on the search for scrolls that are detailed, understandable, and interpretationable, so we can bring forth the original styles that have changed up until today. Doesn't mean we can't use today's Koryu, but we have to go back to the scrolls and do the best job we can to pull out what's really there underneath it all, and what samurai really did.
You don't have the knowledge nor the experience to talk about this. Yes, I do. What is your academic research credentials again? A master's degree from the University of Manchester, which is one of the best universities in England. It's up there. Christopher Flynn has always been a bit negative, but he supports this channel, but he's a very negative person with it. It's funny, I told you years ago you should do a podcast interview and other people like Jesse. The whole thing could have been avoided with a simple Skype video. I contacted Jesse Enkamp many times, and he saw the messages on Facebook and all that. He just didn't want to bother, and then produced a bad video. If you can't read traditional Japanese, did you really translate anything? Sounds like your partner did other work and you tried to take the credit for years. I've watched you try to become the face of Ninja while bashing everyone else. Seems like to try and prove your way is the only way, calling everyone else's way fake, but I'm sure the scrolls out there that you have never seen, and over the years I've seen you go back on your word and say stuff that you thought was fake and ended up being true.
So this often comes up, guys. You don't speak Japanese. You don't speak traditional Japanese. You don't know it. Okay, so here's the question. How many people before me translated, published to the world this Ninja Scrolls? The actual simple fact is, a German person had done it, and then while my book had been translated, the Shoninki, they saw it was on. I told everyone 2 years or too early, and they hastily put through an English translation, which is a terrible translation of a terrible German translation. But before me, there was nothing of value that was translated for the Ninja community. Since me, there's been a ton of stuff. We've translated so much now that it's actually killed the Ninja, because people are not interested anymore. They're like, we know what it is, we're not interested, that's it. So yes, we can. Now for 10-15 years, people have been trying to find problems with our translation, and over the years people have attacked it, and they're like, actually it's pretty good, and Yoshie knows what she's talking about. Now what you don't understand is that what comes out from Yoshie is different to what actually comes out on paper, and I do a hell of a vast job, a lot of work. And basically Yoshie will give me a very good English, but it's not what we're after. It's not, and we have to go through it sentence by sentence. It took us 4 years to go through the Bansen Shukai sentence by sentence to sort of say, right, well, what's the meaning behind this? And that's not the way an English person would say it. We'll have to steer this way. And again, I always give this, we have to translate what is Hatamoto, what is Kashira, the captains, what is the sergeants, what is the co-cashier and all that. How does it, lieutenants, captains, how does it all go? We go through with a fine tooth comb and we put it all together, and then Yoshie is pretty much finished at this point, and I go through and make sure it all fits together, what our translation from beginning to end, that they say this happens here and this is the translated version for this, and that happens there and this is the translated version of this, and they all match, and it's like a spider network. Imagine when Frodo goes in with his sword and gets caught in all the web. That's what I have to do with the translations, dig through everything, and that's why mistakes happens in translation, because you've got so much to do and combine them. It's imagine like a board, you've got strings everywhere. That's my job, to make sure it all fits like that. Yoshi's job is to write it down, and then she's done with it, and then I come back, and then she comes back and reads it again, and then I do it again, and then she reads it again. It took us 4 years to do the Bansen Shukai. The Bansen Shukai is that one, the Book of Ninja there, just in case you're interested. So I do a lot of work behind the scenes, and it takes a lot of time. And for years, people have tried to diss the translations, and the only response they come back with, actually, they're very good. It must be Yoshie, and Anthony takes all the credit. But the simple fact is this: I'm a producer, and I always call myself a producer or a team leader or a captain of it. And basically, before me, there wasn't nowhere near the information we have on the Ninja. Now, there was only incorrect information, and from the Japanese speakers, you got incorrect information. So Fuji Taseko, Yumio Nawa, yeah, those, and there's another one, I forget his name at the minute, but the mayor of Iga, and those three gave you the worst information ever, along with Hatsumi and Takamatsu, who gave you so before a non-Japanese speaker, Japanese speakers gave you all the information, which was translated through English people who didn't do what I did. They just went, yep, that's what the Japanese say, and it was all wrong. So when I came along, a man who doesn't speak Japanese, we got it right. So, not the best comment.
They are not doing ninjutsu, implying the others, but Anthony Cummins is. Yeah, okay. Actually, yeah, I am. That's the point. We went to actually go and get all the scrolls, so we were doing ninjutsu, because the point was they weren't. So it was like, yes, that's exactly what we did. Here is why a ninja martial art would not be the same as a samurai martial art. A ninja would find themselves in situations when they could not use the samurai techniques that samurai train in.
Right, this is fundamentally flawed. This is one of the worst arguments, is ninjas have to use a different hand-to-hand technique because they're in a different situation. It's not true. this is a misunderstanding on the basis of understanding the word shinobi no mono. So shinobi no mono only becomes a professional term by the 1550s that we see it. The term shinobi can be loosely used for anyone infiltrating. So I, with no training, could go and creep in next door and they would say shinobi is there. If it was obvious that I was a thief, they would say nosubito or tozoku for gangs of thieves and things like that. But they would say shinobi iru or shinobi mono, shinobi bito. Yep, for shinobi hito. That's the terms that start to get pushed in. It's only when it's in a military context that we start to get shinobi no mono as a specific thing. Now, so first of all, there's that problem that shinobi no mono actually it is always used in a military context, but the term shinobi itself isn't. But we then find that, especially we've got Book of Samurai series, and it says when acting as a shinobi, when a samurai acts as a shinobi. Every ninja manual we have so far is written by a samurai or a koshi, which is from a samurai descendant. That every manual says this is the work of samurai, except it can also be done by thieves. So the point here is, the point I'm trying to make is thieves infiltrate, opportunists infiltrate, shinobi no mono military personnel infiltrate. Sometimes those military personnel are taken from thieves but are giving the status of samurai and land rights, which makes them samurai. So it is so simple, this term, what you said. It is not true at all. Basically, we know that the shinobi no mono was part of the samurai army and they were samurai themselves. So saying a samurai doesn't do what shinobi does is totally incorrect, because they are samurai. But what you could do is refine his question and say shinobi trained samurai don't do what they do. Actually, they did. Shinobi no mono are just professionals at it, but loads of samurai infiltrated. You could ask the shogunate and go, or Scott from Sengoku Studies, or oh my god, he's going to kill me for this, Stephen Nojiri from Tadagenji. Basically, there is tons of examples of people creeping in to other castles, and no shinobi is used. In fact, one of Dr. Turnbull's major things against the shinobi is that before the 1560s, 70s and 80s, the term shinobi no mono is not used for people creeping in. It's samurai creeping in. So creeping in done by samurai who have to fight in ambushes, in stealth operations, in kidnap and rescue style situations, are all there, and it doesn't use the word ninja. So actually, it can be argued the opposite, that the samurai might not have, so that ninja might not actually do the ninja is supposed to do, because the term is too late. Now, me and Stephen Nojiri argue against this. The term goes back to the 1560s, well into the Sengoku period, and just because the term goes out doesn't mean that function as a military position is not there. So just unfortunately, guys, this comment is ridiculous. Yeah, it shows no understanding of Japanese society. Japanese society was not ninjas on their mountain, samurai in their villages. It's just, this is what it is. Shinobi no Jutsu is like this with samurai culture. You cannot take it out. You cannot take it out. There is no separation, and there's ample evidence of samurai going in, doing, infiltrating places where they have to fight. So the idea is some shinobi runs in and goes, I fight in this different way, walk like an Egyptian, whereas the samurai next to me goes, I don't do your job, even though I'm doing it right now, and I fight with kenjutsu this way. It's ridiculous. It's a silly concept.
If you defend Chris Jacobson or Krista Jacobson as a ninja instructor, then you have to do that for Takamatsu, but I don't.
Okay, do I defend Krista Jacobson? Right, okay. My stance has always been the same. I do never believe anyone. I don't believe Krista. I don't believe Kawakami. I don't believe any of them. I want to see proof. Now, if they don't supply proof, then it goes on the you're not bandwagon. It's the same as now. The problem I get here is Krista's fans don't come across and have a go at me every day. Kawakami's people don't come across and have a go at me any day, but Bujinkan do it all day. So people have said, why don't you drop the Bujinkan thing? I would love to. But people keep saying, and we're nearly there, we're crushing it, we're hammering it out. But it does lead to some interesting questions so they're not bad to answer. It does lead to some interesting questions. I do not believe anyone. I want proof, and I've told Krista straight to the face on the phone. I've said, well, until you give me proof, I don't believe you. So, but the difference is this. Krista says, and Kawakami, basically, We support ninja manuals. We support historical research. If you don't believe us, it's not a problem. That's our own claim. It's a separate issue. So they break off their claim and say, that put that there, forget that. Let's look at historical ninjutsu. And Kawakami himself, he's like, let's look at historical ninjutsu. Kawakami knows tons about it. Krista on her channel is literally like, here's Bansen Shukai, here's Shoninki, here's Nimpuden, here's the Gunpo Joshu, here's the 100 poems. She does courses saying, here's the Gunpo, this is from Anthony Cummins, here it is, this is that. And she's like, this is the research we have, here it is, you make up your own mind. I can't ask for anything more. And that's what I said at the beginning. All you've got to say is, and Krista has openly said she doesn't believe ninjutsu and martial arts, but that's a different one because it's a complicated story, that, because she has a different idea of what the word martial arts means to me. I mean hand-to-hand combat. So there's the element there. But on the whole, Krista does it right. Kawakami does it correct. I've yet to try, I tried to reach out to Akban and the dojo, but they didn't come back to me. And the only thing people need to do is say, listen, there's a debate out there whether Bujinkan is real or not, but it doesn't matter. Here's our martial arts, but here's what the books say. Learn that and enjoy it. And that's what all I've done is say, here's the Bansen Shukai, go and read it, see what you think. Does it match it? But learn some historical ninjutsu. So me, I'm like 100% pure historical ninjutsu. Whereas the Bujinkan is like, forget the Bansen Shukai, forget the Nimpuden, forget the Shoninki, even though they well supported them until the translation's out. Have you ever noticed the Bujinkan were all over this? Don Rowley and all that, they're like, they love this and all that. And then Don Rowley still says he still does these. He says yes, so a point to Don Rowley there. But they were all about it. It's the best thing ever. Translations came out, didn't match what was said in the history, and everybody's like, oh, forget that. Kassem was like, no, it's rubbish, forget them, they're dry, they're rubbish. That's history, whether you like it or not. You can't just make stuff up and say it's more interesting. That's not how history works. So that's why with Krista, basically, she does it correct. Here's historical ninjutsu, take it or leave it. Here's what I do, take it or leave it. Anthony, I support your work. Can't ask for anything more, can I? That's up to her now how far she pushes the historical stuff. But that's all I can ask for, and she did it. There you go.
You and Krista should get married. Y'all fit each other. I keep asking her, but she keeps refusing me. I've flown over there with a ring and everything. Got on one knee, serenaded. No, she won't have it. This is one of my favourite ones. It's been a lot that's happened. I'm sure by now you all know the original samurai warriors were actually people of colour. So until the truth is embraced, you will never get authentic teachings of the samurai. You sit down with one of us, allows us to embrace our history. Black people's history is the history of the ninja and samurai. Oh, God.
Now, even Black Lives Matter, the organisation, don't go as far as to say ninjas were black. You know what I mean? So that is ridiculous. So, but we just thought that was a bit of a funny one. Some guy came along to my channel and went, oh, ninja history about Japan. It's not about people of colour. There's a people of colour. Just like, The first Jesuits say they actually, bizarrely, because everybody imagines the Japanese as being obviously different of Asian thingy, but they're really pale people. They're as pale as white people, except those who live near the beach or used to work in the fields. But actually the first Jesuits who came along said they're really white and pale, and they even sort of hinted at their sophistication was better than Europe. But you know, they're saying they're white. Obviously they have a different phenotype, but they're very pale skinned and their sophistication is extremely high. Their religion is wrong and they follow demons, but they're while they were snotting into handkerchiefs and picking food up with their hands and sort of like bathing at the end of the week, the Japanese were like using paper tissues, looking at them going, awkward. You know what I mean? It's like, they're really sophisticated people. Right, guys, let me know what you think of that. Should I continue these videos? I'll probably snap a few of the pictures as I go along, because I think some of them, because I try to answer it in the comments, but nobody really sees it, and sometimes they don't go back, so I may as well just do it so you guys can see it. Let me know what you think. Get yourself a copy of Tolkien. This is on for pre-order at the minute. This is awesome. This, guys, the ultimate unofficial guide to Tolkien's world. It is mint. It's the only book in existence at the minute. So, well, actually, there's one more at the publishers. The rest are being printed in China. That's the test print. And, of course, get yourself a copy of the Book of Bushido. All the sort of stuff. My research stands on its own, and that's got some of the highest sort of praise I've had back. And it was checked by none other than the Shogunate and all that. So he did a great job checking it, which is wonderful. Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. See you soon.